Welcome everyone to the Sci-Fi Queens podcast, where we celebrate all things sci-fi. If you're new to our channel, we ask that you hit that subscribe and notification bell. We would really appreciate it as it'll help our channel grow. You will also see, if you want to support our channel, our website, sci-fi-queens.net. Scrolling at the bottom of the page, you will find information on the queens, our shows, and a link to our merch store. Tonight, we got a special show. Yes. Joining me tonight is the queen of the nerds, Tiffany.
Hello.
And
Hello.
I am your host, Nita. Now, tonight, Sarah, the queen of darkness, will be joining us, but she shall return with some darkness. Okay, no fear about that. She will be returning with some darkness.
Yeah.
But before we start our show, Tiffany, let's check in. What's going on, Queen?
Now,
What's happening?
Unbeknownst to everyone, I have just arrived in the nick of time.
She on island time. I'm sitting here like
just arrived in the nick of time, so I'm still composing myself. But I'm good, and I have so much to talk about. So many things.
Yes. Tonight is a special show. We're going to be talking about the beginner's guide to sci-fi, and we have three very, very special topics that we're going to talk about. Tiffany's going to hit two of those topics. We're going to be talking about Doctor Who. We're going to be talking about Game of Thrones and Lord of the Ring. And we're going to be talking about how is it that we are going to best watch these shows, right? Before we start, Tiffany, do you want to say something in preparation?
Well, I'll just say I'm doing Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, so it's more fantasy, but we blur the lines. And still, most people who are into the sci-fi fandoms would definitely enjoy these. So I want to make sure.
Absolutely. And as we always say here in the Sci-Fi Queens, fantasy is sci-fi's cousin. They're very much on the line.
I'm going to be yapping. I have background knowledge. I have all the things. I've done all the research. It's super queen of the nerds tea. And I love it.
Absolutely. So we have a lot to cover today.
Yes.
And I'm going to start with Doctor Who, and I'm going to tell you guys, I already have a lot of slides and I had to cut some out because we need time for the other ones and we can't be here for 5 hours. That's not the podcast we do.
Because I timed myself because preparation, I timed myself and I cut mine way down.
Exactly. So we're going to start with some Doctor Who, right? And we're going to talk about the history of Doctor Who and talk about what's happening with Doctor Who. Doctor Who is something that, is been around for a long time. Okay. Doctor Who was first aired November 23rd in 1963. It has continued through the classic era, which is considered 1963 to 1989. The 1996 TV movie and the modern revival 2005 to present time. That means this show has been running for 60 plus years, officially described as spanning 60 plus years from its November 1963 debut to present time, making it the longest running sci-fi series in history. I mean, that's deep. Okay?
Yeah.
And before I start, I gotta say, the classic villains, they still are awesome.
Yeah.
Because I love me some classic villains. Okay. And we're not gonna touch on those, but I just want some. Daleks.
I'll just
Daleks
say
are my favorite.
For the people who already know what I'm thinking, let it go. We're gonna let one go though. We're gonna let one villain we're going to let go.
Yes.
In the next season of Doctor Who. Please don't let them show up. But the rest of them,
but it can't be the Daleks. I love me the Daleks.
That's what I'm talking about.
No.
I'm damn. If I see another Dalek, I might lose my mind. And
I want to cosplay one. That's how much I loves them, girl.
At first, before the Daleks were my pet peeve villain, because it's always like, oh my god, who's doing this? And they're like, exterminate. Before them,
I love that. I love it.
The Cybermen, but the Cybermen.
Come on now.
Please. They have to come up with
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
They have to come up with something else.
They do need new ones. They do recycle their villains a lot.
My favorite villain of all Doctor Who time is the Master.
You would. I ain't even talking to you no more. I'm gonna continue with my presentation.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the history of the Doctors before we get into what's the best way to watch it, in my opinion. Remember, this is just our opinion. Mm-hmm. Do not take this so deeply serious. Take it with a grain of salt. It is my experience. This is why I'm doing it this way. Now, classic Doctor Who's and their companion, the first Doctor, William Hartnell, from 1963 to 1966. Companions Susan Foreman, Ian Chesterton, Barbara Wright. And please forgive me if I do not get their names right. The second Doctor, Patrick Thornton, that was 1966 through 1969. And you're going to see how the years kind of connect. That's because the doctors regenerate. So you don't get a new doctor until that doctor regenerates. So there's never a gap in doctors. And that is something that I really like because it continues the story and it really does give something to the storyline and what they're trying to do. Now, his companions was Jamie McCrimmon, Victoria Waterfield, and Zoe Heriot. The third Doctor, John Privy, 1970 to 1974. The companion, Liz Shaw, Joe Grant, Sarah Jane Smith. The fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, 1974 to 81. The companion, Sarah Jane Smith, Leela Romana, first and the second, and K9. The fifth Doctor, Peter Davison, from 1981 to 1984, with companions Tegan Jovanka and Nisa Adric. The sixth Doctor, Colin Baker, from 1984 to 1986, with companion Perry Brown, Mel Bush. I love the fact that not every companion is female, by the way. Like you would think so, right?
Yeah,
but they didn't do that. And I like that about this. It's very progressive from the very beginning. And think about 1963, that's progressive, right?
Right. Because
doing what they did.
Right, because easily it could be like the doctor and his nurse.
Exactly. The sixth Doctor, Colin Baker, 1984 through 1986. Companions Perry Brown and Mel Bush. The seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, 1987 through 1989, with companion Mel Bush and Ace. The eighth Doctor, to complete the classic series of Doctors, Paul McGann, 1986 TV, movie, and later the specials. Could not find who the companions was for that, so forgive me. Now, modern era, which is my era as well. I'm telling you, well, I'm gonna tell you guys the story when I get to the next section. I want to read these to you. What's considered the modern era of Doctor Who starts with the ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston.
Eccleston. I know, yeah.
Yes, in 2005, with companion Rose Tyler. Yes, the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, 2005 to 2010, companion Rose Tyler, Martha Jones, and Donna Noble.
You get so excited.
I get so excited, right? Because she, between her and Amy Pond, I don't know who I love more.
I know. I wrote down my top 5. I'm going to tell you when you finish.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you guys my favorites as well. The 11th Doctor, Matt Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the 2010 to 2013 companion Amy Pond, Rory Williamson. Williams. I need a Rory in my life. Is there
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
Rorys out there
Yeah.
that would want me? I want a Rory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Clara Oswell. The 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. You know that older man got my heart. And
Mm.
I'm not an older man
Every
girl,
time
but
I
that
see him,
man got my heart.
I'm like, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
2013 to 2017, companion Clara Oswell, Bill Potts, and Nardell. The 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. Is it Whittaker? Is that how it's pronounced?
Whitaker.
Oh, Whitaker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, Jodie. I love you. Because you know she's watching. 2018 through 2022, companion Yaz Khan, Ryan Sinclair, Graham O'Brien. Who doesn't love them some Graham? I loved him. He brought balance. 14th Doctor, David Tennant again.
Yeah. Wasn't that
2023
crazy?
special with Donna Noble returning. And the 15th Doctor, which is where we are at currently until they bring it back, is Nakuti Gatwa. Please forgive me, Nakuti, because I know you're watching. Because I know I just butchered your name,
The
Papa
N is
Chulo.
actually silent, just for my
So it's
people.
Kuti.
The
So it's Kuti.
shooty. It's actually shooty.
Shooty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna learn me some. I'm gonna learn me some African names. I'm gonna go deep down into my African heritage for this one. Shuti Gatwa from 2023 to present because we haven't gotten a new one yet.
Correct.
So it's considered present until the new one comes up. And his companion was Ruby Sunday in the early era of his show, then later Belinda Chandra. And these are amazing. Before we go to the next one, which are your top fives?
Top 5 doctors, and it's so hard to put them in order, but here's my order.
Know.
Super biased. Shuti got number 1 because I loved his seasons. Mostly because of the representation. It was so different. Yes. It was like the doctor's always like this unspoken sexuality. But because he's always like making jokes, even like when he had Captain Jack, there's always like this little playful banter.
Mm-hmm.
But with Shuti, it was like I love all sexes. Okay, it was like upfront. He was really showing a lot of pride representation, that he had a male lover. Like it was tea. And then next after Shuti is David Tennant, and then Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and I'm gonna have to put Jodie Whittaker at top 5, but number 5 only because I didn't really like the companions. I know you say you like Graham. I didn't like the companions. I didn't love them. I'll say I liked them. I didn't love them. I gotta be honest. My top 5 companions would be Martha Jones, Captain Jack, Amy and Rory are a package. I'm gonna put them together. Matt Lucas, who was Nardwuar, and Clara. Honorable mention to Donna.
Yes. Okay.
I like Clara because she had 2 doctors. I really liked her more with Matt than with Peter Capaldi, but I'll take both. I liked it when Peter came in and she was kind of find her feet, kind of like how we were. It was like going from a super young doctor to someone more older, a little bit more refined, even though the doctor is millennia years old. Around that time when we were still getting like this whole mystery, like that's when they were really building up the mystery behind the doctor's origins. And then we had just left the whole, I don't want to spoil anything, but we had just left like big reveals behind with Matt Smith, and to jump into that. So it was just, and plus with Clara, I'll just say that there were a lot of reveals for her too. A lot of times they don't really go into too much with the companions. They do skim onto their life. Of course, we see like them having to leave, the consequences of them having to be traveling with the doctor. Of course, they leave their life behind. But I think with Clara, there was like a mystery. And so I kind of like that. And then with Rory and Amy, there was a mystery too. And so I kind of like that there was like this whole background, what the heck is going on after every like monster of the week thing, So
yes, absolutely. Yes. So my top 5 In no particular order. I'm gonna maybe there is an order. Maybe there is an order.
There's an
You
order.
know, yeah. Kuti Guatwa, for the
Mhm.
same reasons that you
Mhm.
provided, the representation, you know, he was original. He
Yes,
was
yes,
an
yes,
original doctor because
yes.
there was no other doctor like him.
Plus,
And when they
the
brought him,
fashion.
yes, and when they brought him in, they also opened the door
Yeah,
to a female black
black
woman
doctor. Yeah.
doctor that doesn't have her own show but does exist and was brought into episodes, and that's something that I
Spoilers,
felt like
but yes.
just watching it,
Keep
man.
a
I'm just
lookout for
keeping it.
her. Keep a lookout for
I,
the black female
yes,
doctor, the
yes,
fugitive
and the thing
doctor.
is, if you're wondering, am I gonna see myself in this show? You will if you are a
Especially in the
black
modern
woman
era.
in that
Yeah,
episode.
especially in
Yeah,
the modern era. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you know, Matt Smith always has a place in my corazon forever. Okay, I love me
Hmm.
some Matt Smith. The
But
man can
he'll be
do
talked
no
about again
wrong.
tonight. He'll be talked about again in the Game of Thrones
Yo,
section.
he can't do anything wrong.
He
Every
cannot.
time I see him in anything he does, he embodies it, right? He's just like, "Ugh."
He's
And I
phenomenal. Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Now, David Tennant has my whole heart.
That's your number one.
Oh, he's got my whole heart. Oh, oh, the sin that goes
Yeah,
through my mind with some
I know
Tennant.
that
Okay.
man. I agree.
Woo,
I agree.
yes.
I can
Although
feel
let
you.
me tell you, Gatwa needs to never wear pants. The way
I
he
love him in a skirt. Oh,
those legs, yeah,
the sexuality is fluid, guys. We don't even know. We like a
yes,
man in a skirt. We love it all.
it's all kind of fluid.
I love that he had different clothes every
Yes,
episode. Like
yes.
Tenet, they all wore the same outfit. They picked
But
their
I
outfit
love
when they
that he had a
regenerate.
different outfit.
Yeah, he
Yes,
kept changing with wherever he landed. It was a new outfit, and I was like, "This is what I'm talking
yes,
about."
absolutely.
Hopefully, they keep that
Now,
going with the next one. Hopefully, they keep
exactly.
that.
Jodie Whittaker, wow, female representation.
Yeah, definitely.
Just she gave this different kind of feel to the doctor. She embodied the craziness. The outfit that she wore was insane. It was like a combination of other doctors. Like she was just so completely amazing. I thought she was just fantastic. Now, Peter Capaldi is my fifth, but not because
Okay.
he is last. Wow, he is a phenomenal actor who did embody this part. He brought a maturity and a sexuality
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
like, wow, it
yeah.
made you
And with
double, it
because
made you think about yourself.
even with him, they brought the master as a woman. Like it was like,
Yes.
oh, what's going on
I'm
here?
liking that. I'm liking that. You know, and I thought that that was like the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, companions, I'm going to start with my number one favorite. I know you don't agree, but that's okay. Donna Noble. She's my
Donna
number
was my
one.
honorable mention. I'm not saying Donna
She's
ain't
your
on the
honorable
list.
mention. But here's the thing with Donna, that why she's my number one. Because
Okay.
she wasn't some teeny bopper who fell in love with him. She wanted to smack him 99% of the time. I love the fact that she brought that energy. The girl came so prepared, and she was like, I'm ready
Yeah.
to do this. He didn't pick her, she picked
She
him.
picked him. Yeah, that's
She
true.
was in charge from day one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm bossy, so I kind of like me a bossy woman.
I
Okay.
understand. I understand. I get it.
If
I
you
get it.
can't handle a bossy woman,
I get it.
you can't be with me.
I get it.
You have to be able to stand up on your own 2 feet and boss
You
me
have your
right
reason.
back.
I get
I
it. I
love
get it.
her. I absolutely, and I think that she has this mature beauty about her that is phenomenal.
Right. All the
Okay,
companions have
absolutely.
their own thing that
Yes,
they bring. So each
yes.
one is like just like the doctors change, the companion change, also
Hmm.
switches up the show. So it never gets boring. Even though I said,
Yes,
of course, there's repeat villains, but some people really like the repeat villains. I'm not saying I hate the repeat villains. I just want them to do it in a more creative way going forward.
yes, absolutely. Now, I am like you, Amy and Rory. There are a pair, and
Yeah.
they are phenomenal. I love them.
Yeah.
Rose, I love Rose.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good with Christopher Eccleston. I think that he gets a bad rap. He will be my honorable mention as a doctor.
Yeah.
He gets a bad rap because he didn't stay
Get
long
enough
enough to
time.
really
Yeah. Hmm.
establish himself.
Yeah.
But that's
But it
I
brought
think
me in. That he
Rose
brought
brought
me
me
in.
in. Yeah,
Right. The Christopher Eccleston Rose
absolutely.
era is where I came in. The Bad Wolf era. That's where I
Yes,
came in. And then I went back,
yes.
backwards. But that's where I came in. So of course,
Hmm.
Eccleston has a
Yes,
place in my heart.
yes,
But like you said, he
exactly.
didn't stay long enough to really put a mark on anything. There was no signature
Hmm.
way of him being the doctor. His signature
Exactly.
was showing us that they regenerate. That was his place
Exactly.
in the
That was
series.
his place in the
Yes.
series.
Hmm.
Next will be Graham O'Brien. I thought that he, like Donna, brought a maturity and a
Yeah.
balance, and it made people say, "Oh, I'm an old time of the classic era of Doctor Who watcher." But here we got all these young people, they may not feel as drawn in, but here's these mature individuals bringing that in. And I
Yeah.
thought that that was very wise of the writers to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I love me some Ruby Sunday. I love her storyline. I love
Yeah.
her. I love their relationship. I love the fact that she was raised by this beautiful, caring black foster mom with the black grandma.
I love
And
them.
he is and here she is with a doctor who is a man of color, a black man. And I love the fact that they never made that an issue that she's a blonde white girl. It
Right.
wasn't part of the storyline. It was simply she's a foster child. This woman embraced her as
Hmm.
she is her mom. That's her grandma. And this is her
Hmm.
life. And there
Exactly.
was this beauty about it, you know? And I
Hmm.
thought that the story was so well done. I
Yeah.
wanted more.
That,
Unfortunately, we did not get more
that's
of
how it
that.
is with all Doctor Who storylines, though.
Yeah, yeah, we do.
You're like,
It's so,
please, please,
yes. Yeah.
give me
So
more.
we're going to be talking about, well, what's the best way to get into Doctor Who? Okay.
Hmm.
And we're going to talk about that because I made a mistake when I first started watching Doctor Who. And let me tell you something, someone corrected my mistake, guided me through it properly, and now I'm a big fan. Okay.
What
I
was your
am a big
mistake?
fan. Here goes. I thought 60, because I had a friend, she was into Doctor Who. She goes, "Oh, you should get into Doctor Who." I said, "Okay." And I went back to the original, the first Doctor.
Oh no.
Oh no. Let me tell you why you don't do that. Because our modern time, our modern TV,
Hmm.
our modern knowledge of it does not gravitate to something that is so old fashioned if
Yeah.
you don't have a background.
You
Oh,
have to
that's
have an
why they do it.
appreciation already. Yes.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And I
Hmm.
started watching them like, what's happening here?
Right. She like, why are you making me watch this?
I was like, I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, I was done. Because you guys know me. If you
Yeah.
don't get my attention, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
definitely agree
out.
with you. You can't start
And
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm. Not
So
now. Not now.
years later, I'm talking about a good 10 years after that. I met a friend on TikTok during the pandemic, and she wonderfully guided me through watching Doctor Who the right way. I was like,
Hmm.
girl, how are you into Doctor Who? What's that about? And she's like, what, haven't you ever watched it? And I told her what I did. She said, no, we're not doing that.
No,
And we
ma'am.
actually went on lives watching it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I felt, you ever seen um Leslie, I forgot her last name, she's a comedian.
Leslie Jones. Uh-huh. Hmm.
Leslie Jones.
Hmm.
And she's watching Game of Thrones and
Right.
she's screaming at the TV. I didn't realize I was doing a Leslie Jones,
Yeah.
screaming at the TV
Because
while
it's
on the live.
so good and you will go through the
Yes,
season so fast. You will go
yes.
through it so fast. It will be
Oh
nonstop. You'll be up
my
all night.
God, we did this. She was consistent with me. She was like, "We're gonna take you." We started with the
Hmm.
Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, and Rose Tyler. I was immediately hooked. Okay, people don't realize when you're raised in color TV and you're watching a show that's black and white, how that visually affects how you
Yeah.
view perceive what you're
Deceive, yeah.
watching.
How you get it,
Okay.
take it in, yeah, yeah,
It's
definitely.
like if you've never watched Star Trek before and you start with the original series, you're going, really? What?
This is what they like.
This is not even the technology. Like, what? The
Yeah,
specs,
I think
where are they?
certain fandoms, depending on when
Yes.
they were made, will allow you to go back and watch. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, you can go back and watch the old stuff. It's not that
Yes.
old, the 80s. So it's like you
Exactly.
can do that, but like something
Yes.
from the 60s.
Yes. Hey guys, whoever's watching, if you got a question or a comment, please post it on the chat.
Please,
We will read
yes.
them and address them. So this was my first real exposure. Like
Yeah.
I was hooked. I watched it and I was into it. When he regenerated, I was not happy. I was like, too soon. You're gone too soon. And he's got this weird kind of bare knuckle fighter sexuality to him and cuteness that was so drawing. I was like, oh, I'm there. But he was so oblivious. I like the fact that
Yeah.
he played his part very obliviously. And then, like he aired from March 26, 2005 until June 18, 2005. The ever length was one season, 13 episodes plus a Christmas regeneration scene. His companion was Rose Tyler, and eventually in mid-season, Captain Jack joined um, the season. He had only one season because the actor did not want to return, so that was his choice. He did not want to return. There was behind the scene issues that we could speculate all we want, but that's really all we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. And let me tell you, Captain Jack, he got his own series, so don't knock it. You know.
Yes, there are spinoffs.
Then we have the 10th Doctor. Okay, look at that face. I put that picture purposely. David Tennant. His timeline was first appearing in the 2005 Christmas special, The Christmas Invasion. Final regular episode was January 1st, 2010, The End of Time Part 2. He actually was so incredibly popular, they brought him back in 2023 for the 60th anniversary special as the 14th Doctor,
Yeah.
with 3 full episodes in series 2, 3, and 4, one Christmas debut episode, 5 special episodes between
Mm-hmm.
20, 2008 and 2010, 3 anniversary specials in 2023 as the 14th Doctor. You got to be popular when you can be the 10th and the 14th Doctor. I mean, let's just say it. Okay. And he embodies his parts as well so
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
Absolutely. His companion was Rose from 2005 to 2006 with 2 full series. She did return in season 4's finale in 2008 with a special in 2010, the 50th anniversary, with a alternate role in 2013. So Rose is the first companion of the modern era and the emotional bridge from ninth and 10th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she, if you don't know the actress, she actually was a pop star. And she
Mm-hmm.
made from in very popular in the UK, and she went from pop star to TV
Yeah.
icon. Very difficult to do,
Yeah.
and she did it. And then he did have another companion, Martha, who was in the third series in 2007. And she did return as a special guest in the fourth season and had a crossover with Torchwood. Torchwood was where Captain Jack um, comes in and has his own series. So Martha is a medical student who steps up after Rose is gone. Then we have Donna. Donna from 2008, series 4, full seasons returning 2009 through 2010 specials, and again in 2023 for the 60th anniversary. And I recommend everyone to watch that. Donna is his best friend dynamic. That
Mm-hmm.
was his bestie. One of the most beloved of eras was with Donna.
Mm-hmm.
She was amazing. And I think it was that best friend energy that she was giving. Excuse me. Then we have the 11th Doctor. This played by Matt Smith. His years was 2010 through 2013, series 5, 6, 7A, and 7B, with the 50th anniversary special.
Mm-hmm.
He had Amy Pond and Rory Williams from 2010 through 2012. They traveled as a trio for most of series 5 and 7, forming one of the most iconic TARDIS teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Clara Oswell, played by Gina Coleman, was there his companion from 2012 to 2013, series 7B, and a special. She also bridged the gap between this doctor and the next doctor. Oh, which I did not put
Okay.
any more pictures because we've got so many of them that I didn't want to take all our time with that. But the best way to watch is to start with the ninth Doctor.
Right.
Okay, get in those from the ninth to current time. There is going to come back with a new Doctor. That is still in the works. We don't have much information as to when, but as soon as the Queen of the Nerd knows, you will
Oh.
know because she will make sure you know.
Yeah.
But it once you get those in,
Yeah.
once you get those series and you're up to date, I would to just go back to the original because then you're
Yeah.
gonna understand the
You'll have
original in a
appreciation.
different light and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna appreciate it better because
Yeah.
it gives you a clarity. Do you have to understand the series? Absolutely not.
No, 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 no,
You
definitely
do
not.
not.
I
You do
think
not have to. Go
I
ahead.
think
I'm
in
sorry.
my expert TV opinion, I think that you would love Doctor Who if you like time travel. And I think the reason that the modern era hits better is because they can do time travel better. Whereas,
Yeah.
they can show us the past better and then the future, they can
Mhm.
take us, he goes to different planets. There's time travel.
Yes.
There's all kinds of, they call it timey-wimey things that happen. They're trying not to mess with the
Yes.
timeline, but they mess with the timeline. And then in the later seasons, it turns out they are the most crazy part of the timeline. Like things are just so crazy, always going. You will never be bored.
No.
So that's what I would suggest with this series.
Mhm.
If you're looking for something
Yeah.
where you'll never be bored, you have a ton of material to watch. Like if you just like, I'm so bored, I need something, a big series. Here you go.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you don't have to watch the classic era
no, you don't.
to enjoy and follow what's happening because they reference the villains from the
Yeah,
classic eras. They bring those in. But they
but they
bring them
explain
in
them.
and provide you the
Yeah,
information you need to understand. So
yeah,
you actually don't have to go back. But if you go back, you will see the evolution of the villains.
yeah.
Okay.
Nostalgia.
And yeah, you can go back, see the evolution of what they look like versus then and now. And you don't have to watch the originals to understand and appreciate the show today. So I do want to shout out my girl Cece, who was the one who set me straight on how to watch it. Because it gave me an appreciation for a classic show that is it
Mm-hmm.
really just like all sci-fi, it gives you this perspective on what's happening in the real world in a science fiction kind of way, which I appreciate deeply.
Yeah,
It is something that is um, just part of speculative fiction that exists. Let's touch on real world issues and reach people and include people while giving you something fun to read or watch,
yeah.
right, or play in a video game.
Mhm.
So I'm going to turn it over to you. um
I got a ton, guys.
yeah, she got a ton. I
so,
added this
so,
just to give you an opening image.
oh
So
well,
you
okay,
can
right.
talk before you tell me which image to go to, like which next.
Right. Well, I'm gonna do Game of Thrones first. Actually, the first image I sent you is gonna be my opening image. But thank you. Just a bridge, just to keep them separated. Yes. Okay. So I put all this together. This is a lot of fan art that I gathered that it really highlights moments in the series in the whole universe, not just from the OG series. So I'm gonna do Game of Thrones first. I do have two topics to talk about. I'm helping our lovely Sarah, who's not with us, but we did not want to let you guys skip on Game of Thrones. So here we go.
Yes.
So I
So
have my notes.
let me know when you want the next slide.
Okay. So you have love, horror, politics, scandal, dragons, magic, evil versus good. There's dire wolves, religious fanatics, freeing of slaves, gorgeous women and men, poison, fate, destiny, fire, and blood.
But
That is
don't
Game
forget
of Thrones.
incest. Don't forget incest.
Well, I wanted to let them find that out on their own.
Well, we could just say it that way, not reveal when, who, and how.
The world of Game of Thrones is such a fun and deep fantasy to dive into. Like, the lore starts with the books written by George R.R. Martin. You can go to the next slide.
Oh, yes.
Starts with the books written by George R.R. Martin. There are a total of, I'm going to say 8/9 books that trace the story. 8/9 only because one of the books, Storm of Swords, is sometimes split into two. But you can also get it as one book. So I just say 8/9. But they are split into tracing the story in those books. The first 5-6 books are what were adapted into the original series Game of Thrones. So I'm sure you've heard the phrase winter is coming. You've seen all the memes about this red wedding. You know there's dragons and a giant wall made of ice, and you probably thinking that sounds amazing. But where do I start? Where can I get into this? Because after this, they also have series. Should I read the books? Where should I go? So here's the truth about Game of Thrones. Yeah, it has a reputation for being kind of complicated, like as far as like lore goes, but there's a lot of names, a lot of places, a lot of bad people, good people. But really, it's just about getting to know the characters. Choose your character. But I will tell you, one of the things about Game of Thrones is don't fall in love with your character too much. Okay, go to the next slide. All right, it really takes place on 2 continents. The story is primarily focused on the fictional continent Westeros. This is where the great houses in the main story takes place. Across the narrow sea is Essos, and this is a vast landmass where different cultures exist. Let's think like Asia plus Middle East vibes. Like there's lots of sand and there's lots of beautiful brown people, like all the things, okay, in Essos. Now, most of the early story does happen in Westeros. So that's where everything really takes place. Westeros has different seasons that last for years. So there's summers that can last a decade and winters that can last like a whole generation. Like kids can be born in summer and never see winter, or born in winter and never see summer. So there's the 2 seasons, summer or winter, and they last forever. Okay.
So how would you compare Game of Thrones map versus real map?
Right. So I would say the Westeros is probably the size. They compare it to like South America. And like I said, like Essos, like as far as sizing would be Asia and the comprising of the Middle East, all the Asian countries, all of that together. Very large.
Ooh, very large. Yeah.
Lots of people, lots of different cultures in Essos versus in Westeros, where you pretty much just see white people. Okay. So it's just a lot of white people. But we love it. We love it there too. Okay. It's crazy over there. So next slide is the wall.
Ooh, the wall. This is
it is
the best image of the wall.
Right. They did such a good job with
because they show you kind of the wall, but this gives you this panoramic view of it that's like mind blowing.
Yes. So the wall covers the entire northern border of Westeros. It was built thousands of years ago to keep something out. So I won't say what. Spoilers.
No,
but it is manned. It's kind of like the Great Wall of China. Imagine that. But it's made of ice, solid ice, and it's guarded by an ancient order of warriors who have been doing this for so long that nobody there even remembers why they're doing it. They're just like, we just got to guard this wall. We're just guarding a wall. They think they're protecting against a human enemy. I'll just say that. But they ain't. It ain't. Like I said, there's magic in this show. All right. Next slide. I'm trying not to give any spoilers because it's so good.
But it's so hard to give information with zero spoilers, but we
Yeah,
do try.
just light spoilers just to get you, tease you a
Yes, we
little,
do
get your
try.
tongue
We
wet,
do
you
try.
know.
Yeah.
So King's Landing is where this is a big. Now this is actually a photo from House of the Dragon, because in Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne does not look exactly like this. This one is the Iron Throne is made of 1,000 swords melted together by dragon fire. In the Game of Thrones series, the first series, there are no swords along the base of the Iron Throne. But before that, in the prequel series, they do show the original format of them with all the swords. And this is where the king rules and where political scheming happens and characters go to like gain power or like lose their head. Exactly.
I mean, and
Next
who
one.
wouldn't want to sit on a throne made of swords? I mean, this is the most amazing throne ever. I would like one. Who would like to give me this chair? Because I want to sit on it all the time.
1 second.
Absolutely. But this is an amazing image, right? Because this is, but like she said, the image in Game of Thrones doesn't have those side swords there. But can you imagine guys sitting on this throne? The nicks and cuts this king had to have had that went untreated and
Yeah.
infected. Ooh.
But what's crazy is that that's covered a lot in House of the Dragon, because that
Yes, it
actually starts
is.
happening.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, so next slide. So yes, like I said, all the characters, and we're gonna talk about the great houses, which is really the core of the show's politics. The 7 kingdoms are ruled by noble families, again called great houses. And here are some of the ones you need to know. Go to the next slide. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have the Lannisters. They're the Golden Lion. Their seat is Casterly Rock. The Lannisters are a wealthy family who have married into the throne at this point when we enter Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. We have the Starks, the Dire Wolf. Their seat is Winterfell in the north, and they rule the entire north. If you go to look at a map of Westeros where they break down the houses in their regions, they have the biggest region, okay? They have the biggest region, and also the Wall is there, of course. And they are the protagonists of the early story in the first season and second season and third season. The next family is the Targaryens, a 3-headed dragon. Their historic seat is Dragonstone. Where we are in the story when we open in Game of Thrones is the Targaryens have been all but eliminated. And those who remain are in exile. The last surviving heirs are a young man named Viserys and his younger sister Daenerys. And they are in Essos in exile. So they are across the ocean in exile, awaiting, their time, biding their time. And then we have the Baratheons, the Stag. Their seat is Storm's End. When we start the series, they hold the throne. King Robert is holding the throne, but his line of succession to his son is complicated.
Ooh, so questionable.
So complicated. He holds the throne after the rebellion that ended the Targaryen reign. But you'll learn more about that as the series goes forward. We also have the Greyjoys, who take a big part later in the series. Their sigil is the Kraken, and their seat is the Iron Islands. They mostly stay on their islands until they don't, and then they become a big problem every time they leave.
Sometimes some people just need to stay home, and they're one of those people who need to stay home.
There's other houses, of course, but these are the main ones. So the first season, you'll meet the players from each house. So choose your allegiance, but again, don't hold on to them too tight, because you never know who you're gonna lose. It ran for 8 seasons, so for nearly a decade.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have House of the Dragon. And this is the book Fire and Blood is a history of House Targaryen. House of the Dragon was adapted from that book. In House of the Dragon, there are 8 main houses. Next slide. We focus mostly on House Targaryen, House Valerion, and House Hightower. But the other houses do play a part in this series, which I won't spoil, but they play a part. Have you seen this series?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I love it. Oh, God. Okay. I've seen everything Game of Thrones.
Okay, great. I was just making sure. Okay, next slide. So, the House Targaryen and House Valerian both come from Old Valyria, a location that is focused on in the books, where the dragons and dragon riders truly reigned. And both houses were considered lower houses, but still very powerful there.
I want to watch the phone.
Okay. But still very powerful there in Valyria. They like to marry each other off to keep their dragon rider blood pure. So they like to marry each other, the Valerians and the Targaryens. That's why pictures here they all still have the white hair. The Valyrian.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yes.
What's with the white hair? Why do
that's the white hair from Old Valyria?
Hair?
Right. So in Old Valyria, that's their traditional hair color that most of the houses had there before they came over to Westeros. Okay. And if you read the books, you'll know that Valyria eventually was burned down. There was a volcanic eruption because they lived on a volcano. It was a volcanic type place. There was a volcanic eruption that completely wiped them out, but the Targaryens and Valerians left before that happened. Okay, so they had already left with their dragons to Westeros. Like I said, they like to marry each other off because only their bloodlines from Valyria can ride dragons. That's the lore. You can't ride a dragon unless you got a drop of blood from Valyria. So Targaryen or Valerian blood ride dragons. That will come up in the second season a lot. So they left for Westeros, where they lived for generations before Aegon, you can go to the next slide, known as the Conqueror, and his sister wives decided to take their dragons and take over the land. 100 years later, we have the events of this series. Okay, so without spoiling it, go to the next slide. This series follows the power struggle between two factions, the Greens and the Blacks. The one side, the Blacks, are led by Rhaenyra, the king's oldest daughter. This power struggle begins after the king dies, and there's an issue over who's going to take the throne. So like I said, the Blacks are ruled by Rhaenyra, the king's oldest daughter, and his younger brother, Daemon. So I will say. The other faction is ruled by the Greens, are led by the king's firstborn son, Aegon, and his mother's family, the Hightowers. There are so many dragons and dragon fights in this show. Go to the next slide. I think did I put a picture of the dragons? Yes.
Yeah, you sure did, girl.
This is the size versus the bigger dragons versus how they stand. There's a fly in here. How they stand against the smaller dragons. And let's just say that it gets to a point. Oh, sorry. There's a fly. It gets to a point where it's a big problem that some of the dragons are small. We'll just say that. It's a big it becomes a bit of an inconvenience. But the whole thing is trying to see who has the most dragons on their side. Because in all reality, this is adapted from the book, the part of the book where they're fighting, trying to see who can get the most dragons. Because at the end of the day, that's who's going to win, right?
About the dragon. It's all about the dragon.
It's all about dragon fire. So there's so many power struggles. It starts way sooner than the king's death, because this picks up in the first season. The king is still very much alive, and Rhaenyra is younger. They do change the actors in season 2. Well, actually, towards the end of season 1, they changed the actors to age them up. But I think it's beautifully done. Watch this show if you really want the fantasy part of like the dragons, and you dare I say, do not need to watch the original show to appreciate this one. You just
they're separate, definitely separate, and you don't need one for the other.
Yeah, the only thing you need to know about this show is the houses. Beyond that, you don't even need to know that if you just want to go into it blind. Because beyond that, it's not really connected. Things happen in this show do affect Game of Thrones, but it's hundreds of years later. Okay.
Isn't it House of Dragon supposedly timeline wise before Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
So if you wanted to watch House of Dragon and then Game of Thrones, it'll probably make even more sense, right?
Well, I think kind of like with the Doctor Who thing. I think watching Game of Thrones, if you want to watch it all, I think you should watch the original series first for appreciation for the lack of dragons and what happens with the few that we get in that show. And then watch this one. And then the next series, which you can go ahead to the next slide, is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah. I haven't started this, but it's on my to watch list.
It's so cute. This one is based on a series of novellas set in the Game of Thrones universe. It takes place 80 years after House of the Dragon, and then 100 years before Game of Thrones. So this one is in the middle timeline between the two. It follows Sir Duncan and his young squire Egg. Spoilers, so that's all I'll say. Um, but there are great houses. Some we know, some are new to TV watchers, and the Targaryens are there, of course. It's lighthearted in some parts with comedy in the way they work the camera. And then it's very heavy handed in other parts with that signature Game of Thrones. Do not fall in love with these characters. Okay. Um, there are some shocking things that happen here. It's a must watch for fans of the lore, and it gives a look at how the small folk or the NPC characters live in the world of Game of Thrones. There's also major plot points that are set up in for the future of this show and showing the future of the actual bloodlines that we come up in on Game of Thrones. So we do see some houses that we know. Future of Game of Thrones universe. There are 2 more seasons of House of the Dragon. So 1 season coming this summer, 1 more after that. 10 they say they want to do 10 more seasons of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. George R. R. Martin is very much on board with this show, and he is writing more novellas to accompany it. And so there's going to be a lot of this show, probably leading up to some big events that book readers already know are going to happen. And then there is going to be a Game of Thrones movie. I do believe it is following Jon Snow.
Yes.
That's Game of Thrones, guys. Watch it.
Are we going right into the next one?
Lord of the Rings. Let's go.
Lord of
the Rings. Again, fan art that I compiled over the whole entire universe that touches on each little thing I'm going to talk about. Let's start with, it is a quiet, just imagine, it's a quiet afternoon in a tiny village called Hobbiton. Green hills roll under a bright blue sky. Smoke curls from a round wooden door built into a grassy hill. Inside, a hobbit named Bilbo Baggins is celebrating his 111st birthday. He's 111. They call it 111st. It's so cute. He's also about to do something that will change the fate of Middle-earth. He's going to disappear, but not from the party, from everything, leaving behind a simple gold ring that will pull his young nephew Frodo into an adventure that spans mountains, forests, kingdoms, wars. Now, this is where the Lord of the Rings picks up. But of course, if you're new to it, you're like, but there's other stuff, right? Like, where can I get into? Where do I jump in? So, because there's 3 movies, and then there's 3 more movies after that. And then there's the TV series, there's books, there's audio dramas, there's an animated series, there's a video game that lets you cook breakfast as a hobbit. It's so relaxing. There's the appendices, the Silmarillion, which is like an encyclopedia of the whole world. There's letters. Tolkien wrote a ton of notes and materials that have filled entire bookshelves. So here's the good news, though. You do not need to have any of that to fall in love with The Lord of the Rings. I'll tell you exactly where you can start, what you can watch, what you can skip, if you just don't care that much about background knowledge, and what you should know from the books that will make watching it much richer, even without actually reading them. I'll give you the tidbits, okay? So you don't have to read the books. So I'll start with, go to the next slide. Tolkien divided his timeline of his world into ages. Tolkien is the creator of Lord of the Rings. He wrote the books and all the other stuff. So he divided his timelines into ages, which are helpful for better understanding the story. And I think such a fascinating lore for the world. So the first age is the Age of Starlight in Valinor, which is Magic Land. There are 2 giant magical trees, one that gave off silver light, one off gold. For thousands of years, the elves lived by the light of these trees, while Middle-earth, which is the mortal land, lay in darkness, only under starlight. When the elves first woke up, many elves that you see in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings were born during this time. This is why they are called the Eldar, or the Ancient Ones. So they live forever, basically, the elves. This is thousands of years before the events of Lord of the Rings. So so when we meet them in that series, they are already thousands of years old, tens of thousands of years old, but they look good. So this age ends with the darkening of Valinor. Morgoth, which is the first Dark Lord, which you'll need to know about, because he'll be referenced, but mostly they'll be talking more about his lieutenant Sauron. So that's who he really is, the big bad guy in this series. He destroyed the 2 trees with the help of a giant spider. There are giant spiders in this series, guys, just so you know.
If you're arachnophobic, just remember yourself.
It's gonna be some spider work, okay?
There is.
The consequences of that, they used the last flower from the tree to create the sun and the moon, which rose for the first time over Middle-earth, creating the first age. All right, next slide. So that's the background knowledge on the elves. During the first age, which is called the Elder Days, the elves had a rebellion to finally defeat Morgoth and created 3 legendary jewels made from the fruits of the light of, made from the light of the first trees. During the First Age, there were, like I said, a lot of wars. It was tragic. They finally ended Morgoth, but a lot of Middle Earth was lost in the process. So when we do get to Middle Earth, it's fractured. A lot of the parts are missing. Like, they really tore up the mortal world trying to fight him. Next slide. This age ends, of course, with the war where they defeat Morgoth. The second age begins that this is where we come into Rings of Power. Rings of Power is a prequel series to the Game of Thrones series. So this is where we come into Rings of Power, the rise and fall of Numenor, which we will see this coming up season. After Morgoth's death, Sauron rises as a new Dark Lord. Sauron is his lieutenant. So he rises and tries to dominate Middle Earth. Not through brute force, though. He does it through manipulation and small little things where he tries to get the elves to do his bidding. This is when they create the actual One Ring and the other Rings of Power. This is during this age, it's also the last alliance of elves and men, and it is where they finally defeat Sauron. He's never really defeated, guys. That's a spoiler alert. He's like Venom. If you leave a little drop, he will regenerate. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you can go to the next slide. So the third age is when the Lord of the Rings actually happens and the Hobbit movies. So it covers Sauron's last years of lurking, the decline of the elves, the rise of Gondor and Rohan, which are the realms of men, and finally the War of the Ring, where they have to do something to defeat him. I won't say what. Most of the major elf characters, though, will depart Earth at the end of this age, going for their heaven or Valinor, their magic land. All right, so the fourth age is the beginning of human history. So the way Tolkien wrote it is that this is our past. He wrote this like, this is what happened before now. So he wrote it that now we're probably in the 6th or 7th age currently in our timeline, if we're in his world. But yeah, so that's just a background on that. You can move to the next slide. The books are, so this is the Age of Men. Sorry, slide for Age of Men. Now, next slide. So the main books are The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series. The Hobbit is a short, light adventure. It was really made for kids, but when they did the movies, they made it very dark to kind of keep up with the Lord of the Rings. So they wanted to keep it in that same kind of realm, same kind of vibe. Lord of the Rings, of course, is a much more serious epic that takes place 60 years later. So I have only read the Hobbit books. I have not read the Lord of the Rings books. So I did. I can't tell you if the Hobbit books are completely different from what they gave you. I just know that they were wrote for kids. And I mean, if the Lord of the Rings books are completely different than what they actually gave us on the screen. I can tell you what I've read, but I don't know from firsthand knowledge. Okay, so next slide. The Hobbit trilogy. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. All right. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. There are a lot of changes. Like I said, I don't really know the exact ones, but I know there were changes from the book to the film, and so I won't spoil them here. But they changed a lot, but I will say that since, like I said, I didn't read the book, so I will say that you can definitely watch this series without the book knowledge.
Yeah,
it's still a sweeping fantasy. They explain all the characters. The absolute only thing I will tell you, which is kind of a spoiler, but they never get into it, is that the wizards are not actually wizards, okay? They are basically angel beings, which kind of comes up in Rings of Power if you watch that series, but you kind of got to know what you're looking at. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and tell you.
And I've never read any of the books.
Yeah.
And I got into this. So yeah, it absolutely can be done.
Yeah. Definitely. You fall in love with the characters.
Books lose me when they start doing 6 and 7 series books. Like I'd say you know,
and then they're like
my ADHD does not allow
thousands of pages long.
Yeah, and they're not short books. They're really big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, my ADHD does not allow me to do that. It shuts down.
Yeah, you can definitely watch these, without reading the book. But yeah.
I'm glad you agree, Rock the Golem.
They lose me. It's too much. It's too much.
It's
But
too
I know
much.
that they
It's too
did change.
much.
Like I said, the wizards are not actually wizards. They're like angel beings. And the ages of some of them, I know the hobbits were younger in the books, and the some of the human characters were older. So they kind of sexy them up for, for the screen. Um but you can go to the next set. I think it's The Hobbit. So yeah,
Yes.
so The Hobbit is really a prequel to Lord of the Rings. And so these events happen before the events in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, we get to see Bilbo's journey. Whereas in the Lord of the Rings films, we start at the end of his journey in the beginning of Frodo's. This shows the beginning of him leaving the Shire, going out to have an adventure. In The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, there's a dragon that talks. Okay. Love that. Very
We love our
creepy.
dragons in our
Love that.
fantasy.
Love
Okay.
that. In The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, it's a big fantasy. They have big fantasy battles, and there's more of that dragon, baby. Okay. And she don't want to give up her gold. That's the bottom line. Okay. So I kind of feel for her in that, but
Listen,
not
a
your
girl
story.
got to do what she got to
It's
do.
not her story. It's not her story. I feel for her, but it's not her story. Like I said,
Exactly.
the original books, The Hobbit, were written for children. So when Peter Jackson took over and wanted to create them into films to follow up with his trilogy, he made them darker, more serious tone. But I like that. I'm not against it. I love it. I love a little dark fantasy. All right. So next up is The Rings of Power. This is a
Yes, so
fantastic
good.
series. It is designed as a prequel, but it's not based directly on any of the books. It compresses thousands of years of history from the Silmarillion, which is an appendices, into a single narrative timeline that a television audience can easily follow. It's set during the Second Age, thousands of years before the events of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Some elven characters, like I said, will recognize from the films. Book readers or guests at some of the lore events that come up. They'll be like, "Hey, I know." Because they changed a lot though, so you won't really flat out know. So even if you think you know all the Tolkien things to know, you'll still be surprised by this. Oh, you've never seen this? It's so good. They have
No
another
spoilers,
season.
but it is good.
Another season
It's
coming
absolutely
out.
good.
Another season coming out. Where we pick up in this one is, like I said, the end of the war with Morgoth, and they're still they think they've killed Sauron, but Galadriel, she knows in her heart. He's still around. They trying to gaslight her, tell her he's not around. So there's elves. There's
And I don't know if you would agree or not, but this series stands on its own. Like if you haven't watched the others, you
don't
could
have to
kind of watch this.
Yeah, you can watch this, but you kind of want to have a feel for what you're looking at. I will say that. So if you just start off with episode 1, because it picks up, like I showed you, the trees. It picks up with that whole tree thing. Okay, so you're gonna be kind of like, what am I looking at here? But you can still appreciate, because they're going to explain. It's explained in a way that, like I said, TV audiences can grasp it. So I do agree with you. You don't have to see anything else other than this, but it's fun to know that there are dwarves in the mountain, that the elves live forever, that, some of the names that come up, you're like, oh yeah, he's from Lord of the Rings. Like, that's like fun stuff to know. Or like, there's also the orcs are in this and their creation. Like, it shows how they came about, and, all the little fun things. And, there's a giant birds, as you can see in this photo. There's giant birds, and there's a city that's on an island that thinks it's like top of the world, and they're gonna get destroyed. But it's like so many things. They show us the hobbits, but they're not hobbits yet. Like, it's a lot of background things that you think that you can watch this without knowing anything. But I would just go into it knowing, just so you can feel a better watching experience. At least know a little bit, even if you don't want to watch The Hobbit. I think just watching the Lord of the Rings films, which are great watches. If you watch the extended cut, you'll get a lot more.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, this show.
Actually, Rock the Golem has a question. You might know this better than I do.
You guys ever touch on 40K? Because I think that'd be an awesome segment based on how you're talking about Lord of the Rings. I've seen this.
Have you watched 40K?
What is 40K?
I haven't.
Warhammer? Are we talking about Warhammer? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Warhammer. Okay. So we talked about it briefly, but I know with the new series coming out, we will talk about it again.
Oh yeah. Now I remember. Yes. 40K without the Warhammer was like,
right. Yes. We will discuss it again. Yes. Stay
Yes,
tuned.
yes.
Yes,
Stay tuned.
I knew when you said 40K, I was like, wait, are we on the same page? Yes, Henry Cavill. That's why he left The
Yes,
Witcher.
I
In case anybody wants to know,
know.
that's why he left The Witcher. Back to this with the ring. So in Rings of Power, it's titled Rings of Power for a reason. This is where the creation of the One Ring and the other rings were created. No, you're fine. Derail us. We love a good little chit chat.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But this is where the rings are created. So if you ever wanted to actually, because I know in the Lord of the Rings films, we only get to see the one ring, and they briefly mention the other rings. But this is where Sauron comes and convinces the elves to make the rings, and it is
And
so.
who doesn't like a series about jewelry?
It is
Hi.
so insane. It is so insane how it comes about. I never would have guessed it. But yeah, so that's it. The next day, that's it for that. For Rings of Power. There's also an animated film, The War of Rohirrim. This is so good, especially if I love an anime guy, so you cannot keep me away from it. But this is set 183 years before the Lord of the Rings. And so it tells the story of Helm Hammerhead, the legendary king of Rohan. And this happens, like I said, before all of that. So you don't really need any of that to watch this. It's just its own separate, like, fantasy war series. So you can definitely watch this without seeing any other stuff. I believe it's on
Especially
Netflix.
if you're more into anime than live action.
Yeah.
This would be the series. This will be the one to watch.
Definitely. So there's also a video game, just a cozy life simulation where you can create your own hobbit and move to the villages. It's so cute and just, cozy.
Is this though a children's or is this adult? Like, what's the age range for
Kind
this
of like
video?
Animal Farm. So, you would say that's for kids. So kind of like that kind of vibe. It's for everyone. For everyone, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, there's no fighting. There's none of that. No blood, none of that. But it's adorable. Yes, it's so cute. You can cook, and you have a garden and all these things. So it's super cute and cozy. So the future of the Lord of the Rings, Warner Brothers is actively developing multiple Lord of the Rings movies. The first one is Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, which will be released December 17th, 2027. Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum, is directing and will reprise his role as Gollum. It's a live action prequel that will focus on Gollum's backstory and the events taking place in the timeline between The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Ring. So small little space between that.
Yes.
I believe it's about a 60-year time span. So there'll be a lot they can get into in that. And the other movie is Lord of the Rings: The Shadow of the Past, which is a working title. So it might change. But it's a development to follow the hunt for Gollum. It's being written actually by late show host Stephen Colbert, who previously collabed with them on The Hobbit, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
But it's being written by him and his son. The plot of the movie will come from chapters of the Fellowship of the Ring that did not make it into the Peter Jackson adaptation. So 14 years after the passing of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin set out to retrace the first steps of their adventure. Meanwhile, Sam's daughter, Eleanor, has discovered a long-buried secret and is determined to uncover why the War of the Ring was very nearly lost before it ever began.
Oh,
I'm so excited. I want more Lord of the Rings. But yeah, so definitely another season. I think they're going to do 2 or 3 more seasons of Rings of Power. So, we love it.
We got some more jury coming up.
Hey. Yes, so good.
Oh my goodness. But this wraps up the beginner's guide to sci-fi. If you guys want to know, we do have another episode that talks about Star Trek, Star Wars, and Alien versus Predator. So check that out in our YouTube channel. And thank you so much, guys, for keeping up here and staying with us. We do want to announce our next episode, which will be May 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where Tiffany is going to tell us what's next in sci-fi TV and movies.
So many things. So exciting.
Okay. Yeah, she is our TV guide for sci-fi. Okay. And she's going to bring you what's coming up next, what's canceled, what's happening. Alien versus Predator.
I'm gonna cover. Oh yes, and Shannara Chronicles. I'm gonna add it to the list. Don't worry for our next one, because we will do another beginner's guide in a couple months. So stay tuned for that. what's next in sci-fi.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you things that are coming between May, June, and July. Anything that's coming up through the summer. And so please tune in for that. If you just don't know what to watch in sci-fi coming up for the summer, I got you. You can follow me at the.nerdgoddess on TikTok, where I talk about all things TV, sci-fi, fantasy. Everybody gets play over there. And you can follow Nita at the Sci-Fi Queens, also on TikTok, guys, to get all of our
Yes, absolutely. And Instagram, Facebook, follow us
everywhere.
But thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. And we will see you up May 29th. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Sci-Fi Queens. And be sure to support us on all our social medias. And check out our website,